I'm going to tell you this story. It's about that which has no name. So, in a village long, long, long ago, everyone at night they would fall asleep. Well, they all claimed that their soul somehow had been taken. There was something that came in the village in the middle of the night and it stole everyone's soul because everyone just went limp. They fell down everywhere they were and they laid there until morning. Even the dogs and all the cats and the chickens, they all just dropped
Mm.
down and were dead until morning. And then everybody woke up and it was almost like this thing had come and stolen everybody's soul. And so they gave it a name, that which has no name, comes in the middle of the night and it steals everyone's soul. And it gives them back in the morning. But as young men will do, throughout the ages, they decided they wanted to go find out what that was and stop it because it was just too odd that everybody in the middle of the night just laid down dead. I mean, still just they were gone. And so throughout the ages, men had gone and hunted for this thing, this animal that didn't leave any tracks. There was no scent. There was nothing for this animal. They couldn't find it anywhere. As time went on, the older people said, it's just something, just leave it be. It's not a big deal. But there were three friends, young pups, and they said, you know what? I think we can do this. Their names were Bildad, Elihu, and Gilead. And they were like, yeah, right. Those old people, they don't have the tracking skills that we have. They're not the hunters that we are. We can find this thing, shore it up, kill it if we have to, and then no one has to lay down and die over the evening. Good idea. And so that next day, they packed up some food. They got their knives and they got all their bows and arrows and they went out tracking. Now, if you're going to track an animal, right, you look for broken branches. There was none. Well, then you look for tracks, footprints. They have to be somewhere. This thing that has no name has to leave footprints. And there were none. Hmm. So then they thought, you know what? It has to hunt. And it has to be around the village somewhere because every single night it comes into the village and steals everyone's. It has to be here somewhere. It can't be too far away. And if it eats, then it has to drink. So they decided that they would go to the watering hole. So they went to the watering hole. They walked all the way around the watering hole. They saw all the tracks that they knew. There were antelope, there were lion, there were leopards, there were buffalo, there were zebra. There were all kinds of tracks that they knew, but not one that looked unusual. So they thought this must not be the watering hole where this thing that cannot be named takes its drink. So then they walked around and around and around, and they found another watering hole. And they walked around that one, and they looked at all the tracks, for they were the best trackers. So they walked around and they looked at those tracks, but they recognized every single one of those tracks. There was the zebra, there was the lion, there was the deer. All of them they recognized. Not one unusual track. This was one sneaky being. Well, there had to be another water hole somewhere that it was getting its water from. So they walked around and they walked in a radius around their village, got farther and farther away, and pretty soon they were in an area they had never been before. Well, they found a watering hole and they said, this must be the place. They walked around that water hole, they inspected those prints, but all of the prints they saw were ones that they recognized. But this had to be the place. As this time the sun is starting to get lower and lower in the sky. Well, they thought, what we could do is we can set up an ambush for this creature. For we know that it comes in the night. So if we hide ourselves, then we can sneak up on it when it comes to get a drink. Well, they saw that there was one tree that went up and arched over this watering hole. And they thought, if one of us could go up there, and then they could keep an eye out of the watering hole, and then the two on the other side, one on each side of the tree, could keep an eye out. And when that guy hollered out, then they would rush in and attack it. Well, no one wanted to go up in the tree. I mean, what if that thing that cannot be named, which has no name, what if it snuck up there and got them? Well, either one of them says, "Oh, no, no, Bildad, you're braver than I am. No, you go, Bildad." Bildad says, I'm not that brave. Elihu, you're the bravest, the strongest, you're the best one of all. You could go up in the tree." Elihu says, "No, you know what? I'm kind of squeamish, and my eyesight's not very good. Gilead, you've got the best eyes ever. You go up in the tree." Gilead says, I'm kind of afraid of heights. Maybe I'm not the person to go up in this tree." Well, they kind of bickered back and forth. And they said, "The sun is going down. We have to do something quickly." And so they decided they did, and they kind of drew straws. Actually, they were like reeds out of the pond. And then Bildad drew the short straw. So Bildad climbed up in the tree. He had his knife ready, and the other two flanked the tree, one on one side and one on the other side. And they hid in the grasses and they waited for that thing that cannot be named, that has no name. Well, Bildad watched and watched. He saw the zebra come down. He saw the lion come down. He saw the antelopes come down. He saw all of the animals that he recognized, the wild pigs, and all of these animals come down and leave again. Well, by this time it was getting dark. And so he was having a hard time seeing, but he still watched and watched. All the animals came down towards the nighttime, like the little raccoons and the other little animals that were nocturnal. And they came down to the watering hole and they went away as well. He watched and watched. Well, about this time, the moon started coming up and it got later and later in the night. Well, those two friends, they'd woo-hoo, and he would woo-hoo, woo-hoo, back again, just to make sure they were all okay. Well, there he sat. And of course, I don't know if you've ever sat for a very long, especially on a branch, you kind of get restless a little bit. Just trying to move around get a little bit of blood flowing. But pretty soon it was pretty boring sitting up on this tree. And he has his knife ready to go. And he's waiting, and it's about midnight or so. The moon's it's just a crescent moon up there, not very bright at all. And he's thinking, okay, boy, this is okay. I'm waiting, but this is really boring up here. I can't see anything. It's dark, can't see. And so he kind of relaxes and he starts thinking about things. And pretty soon his eyes start closing and he drifts off. And he wakes from the start. He says, "Wait, hey, Elihu, Gilead, did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it?" And they come running around to the tree. "What was it? What was it?" And then he said, "Did you see it? Did you see it? That thing that has no name. It snuck up on me and it almost got me. Did you see it?" Elihu and Gilead said, "No, no, we didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything. We just heard you yelling. What was it?" He says, I don't know. It just kind of snuck up on me and it almost had me. Are you sure you didn't see anything?" Both Elihu and Gilead said, "No, no, we didn't see anything." Okay, it's got to be really close. Okay, you guys pay attention, okay? So Gilead and Elihu, they went back to their spaces. Bildad, he got back up there. He was determined. He was going to pay attention this time. He was going to see exactly what was going on. And about an hour went by. It was really boring. He started drifting off again. His eyes got heavy. He's tried so hard to keep them open. And he woke up this time. There it is. It is here. It is here. Come here. And they rushed down again, Gilead and Elihu. What happened? Where is it? What is it? He said it almost had me. Did you not see it? It was grabbing my foot. It had me. Did you not see it run off? Elihu and Gilead said, no, we didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything. Bildad says, I'm sure it was right here. It had me in its clutches. You didn't see anything? Like, no, we didn't see anything. This is crazy. It's right here. Okay, I'm gonna go up in this tree again. And you guys just get closer to the tree, okay? Just don't get so far away from the tree. Just right on either side of the tree. And you can see this thing and it's gonna sneak up on me. Okay? You guys have got to keep me safe. Lio and Gilead said, yeah. We'll do that. We'll do that. So they got closer to the tree and they stayed awake and they looked and they looked and they looked. Bildad was up on that branch. He was hanging out. Another hour went by. Maybe this is like 3 o'clock in the morning. He's trying so hard to pay attention and to keep vigilant. But then his eyes started getting very, very heavy. And they became so heavy that his hand released the grip of the knife and it splashed into the water. And Bildad fell off of the branch, into the water, splash, comes up, screaming and crying. Did you see it? Did you see it? It had me, it had me, it had me. Gilead and Elihu, they come rushing into the creek too. What was it? Did you see it? He said, it's right here. It's gotta be right here. It had me in its grip, and he said it was there. It just literally started to take my soul. You had to have seen it. I'm like, no, we didn't see anything. We didn't see anything. Bildad says, this thing is gonna get me. If you guys are not so paying attention, it's going to get me. And it's going to, what are you doing? By this time, it was almost 4 o'clock in the morning. You could see the tinges of the sun kind of starting to come up a little bit. And I said, this is ridiculous. Maybe we're not such great hunters after all. So maybe we should just, that thing does. Even though it takes our soul every night, it gives it back in the morning. So maybe it's not quite as dangerous as we think it is, maybe. So, and besides, I'm getting really hungry. And they all agreed, yeah, that is hungry. You know what? Why don't we go find something we can hunt? So all of those three boys, Bildad, Elihu, and Gilead, they went out and they tracked something that they could see. This was a nice, juicy antelope. They went ahead and shot it with their arrow, brought it home, and into the village. Here they came about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Sun's starting to come out, peek up in the morning. And they came in with this big antelope. And the old wise men, they said, boys, did you get that thing that has no name? And they said, well, no, but we did see it, but we decided we would just let it be. And then whatnot, wise, knowing men just shook their head. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. But that antelope was enough to appease everyone. There, they fleshed it out. They gave everyone a portion, and everyone ate very, very well that day because of the antelope and the boys' hunting skills. And the boys decided, they'd been up all night long. Their bodies were tired. They had full stomachs, and they decided that they were just going to go ahead and succumb to the thing that has no name because they knew it would give its soul back. And that is why we just sleep on it.